synthetic division. Now, this is a very simple process once you get the hang of it, all right? It's very repetitive. It's just the same thing you're going to do over and over again. There's some rules to this first, okay? In synthetic division, you have to be dividing by a leading coefficient that has a 1 and a degree of 1. So, as you can see, here we have, this is a yes. What we're dividing into, I should say, doesn't matter. What we're dividing by matters. You can't have exponents bigger than 1. You can't have leading coefficients bigger than 1. Okay, so you can see why the other ones don't work. One has a leading coefficient of 5. All right, can't use that one. The other one has a leading coefficient, a degree of 2. Indicated by the square. Can't do that. Real simple. 3x to the 4th plus 7x to the 3rd plus x minus 11. That's all being divided by x plus 3. All right. So with the x plus 3, hey, leading coefficient of 1, check. Degree 1, check. So we're all right to go forth with this. All right. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that what we're dividing into doesn't have any missing terms. All right. You can see we have, exponent of a 4, an exponent of a 3. Then we jump to an exponent of a 1. There's, technically there's a 1 right there, and 0. So there's a 2 missing in the middle. So we go through, if there's anything that's missing, we're going to put a 0 and that term there. So 3x to the 4th plus 7x to the 3rd. Now we're going to add 0x squared plus x minus 11. Right? So obviously these are still the same. 0 added to anything is still the same thing we had before. Okay? So 0x squared still multiplied comes out to 0. So that's 0 added to this, same thing. All right, and we'll follow that. Make sure you turn on your mics. Okay. So now, what we're going to do is copy the coefficients down. All right. So coefficients, the number in front of the term. So 3, 7, 0, 1. Make sure you know that that's a 1. And then negative 11. All right. So these are all added, so we didn't need anything, but this has a minus sign, so we're going to put negative here. Okay. Next thing you're going to do is look at what we're dividing by. So we're dividing by x plus 3. So we're going to ask ourselves, what makes x plus 3? What would that be if it's equal to 0? Just this part. So x plus 3 equal to 0 means x would have had to be negative 3. So whatever that number is that we're going to need to make this 0, you put it right here. Okay, so we have our coefficients that we wrote, right? And see the spacing that they put in between them. You're going to need that. And you have negative 3 over here. And most people put like a little backwards L, a little box, whatever it is. Just letting everybody know this is what we're dividing by. Okay. And to make it a little bit more orderly, we're going to underline it with a space in between because we're going to write some stuff in here and we're going to write some stuff underneath this line. So this is to make sure that it's nice and neat, right? So our negative 3 is in the box. We have our coefficients lined up. Put a line underneath that, leaving space in between the line and the numbers, and a little space underneath the line. Okay. So first thing we are going to do is bring that first number down. All right. So the first number was a 3, we're bringing it down. All right. Nothing big on there. All right. Next step is we're starting to get into synthetic division now. Negative 3 multiplied by the 3 that we brought down, put that number underneath the next number, which happens to be a 7. So this is negative 3 times 3, which is negative 9. Put it underneath the 7. So the next thing we're going to add. Now, I put a big emphasis on the word add because we're adding these two numbers. A lot of people get confused and say, we're subtracting them. Sometimes the ending result is subtraction, but we are not subtracting in this problem. In any of these problems, it's always going to be addition. Okay? And that, everybody, is synthetic division. We're going to repeat this over and over again down here. So, next column, take the negative 3, multiply it by the negative 2, put it here, add these two bad boys together. Here, what's going right here? Huh?
Negative 18.
Okay, yes, negative 18. Is that, first of all?
Yeah.
Okay, negative 18. Okay. Negative 18 goes there, add those bad boys together, get negative 17. Okay, Captain Rogers, what about the next slot?
Is it negative 51?
Close. Was
Is
that
it a
Captain
positive?
Rogers? Yep, it's going to be positive 51. You got negative 3 multiplied by negative 17. So don't forget it's going to be, you got to multiply negative times a negative. 51. Add these bad boys together. Even though the result ends up looking like subtraction, make sure you understand we are actually adding each time. So negative 11 plus 51. So let it throw you off. Okay? That's synthetic division. We just did. Okay? We're just repeating this exact same thing over and over again. Multiplication, stick it up here, add them together. Multiplication, stick it in the next spot, add them together. That's all we kept on doing. All right. So in this example, now we ended up with these numbers underneath. Keep in mind, this last number is going to be our remainder. A lot of people like to put a box around it or a circle around it to remind them that it's going to be the remainder. All right. Now, obviously, if there's a 0, there's no remainder. All right. We're going to take these exponents and put them in front of new variables, one less in the exponent. So the first one started with a 4. So our first one's going to start with a 3. One less. Okay. So it turns into 3. Got the 3 from here. 3x cubed minus 2x squared. Remember, we did not have a squared term originally, but we have a squared term in our answer. Okay. Plus 6x minus 17, and our remainder, 40, this last number here, over, what did we divide by in the first place? X plus 3. So go back to our simple example. We take 10 and divide it by 3. It goes into it 3 times, and then 1 over 3 afterwards. So 3 1/3. Okay, would be our overall answer. Same type of thing here. We have an answer and the remainder divided by our original stuff. That would be our answer. So if I take this and multiply it by this, I will get this.